There's a certain type of game that lives in notoriety online. Often a small indie game, but it can be a larger production. These are games clearly trying to be art, with some symbolism simple and straightforward, and some elements seemingly intentionally vague. Some may have a specific flavor of stylization to their graphics. I'm talking about your Journeys, or What Remains of Edith Finch's, or the Witnesses of the world. Then there's also the games built with obscure lore bubbling just outside the lens. FromSoft has made a bazillion of these, and the set of games as a whole has gathered a whole community around them devoted to unwinding their threads and mysteries. Many of these pieces are talked about again and again, with seemingly endless content discussing them. Then, there's The Stillness of the Wind. It's a 3-ish hour indie art game, made by a single developer studio. It is very clearly trying to be about something. Some of its thematic material is very straightforward, about the effects of industrialization and aging. Other bits of its story are intentionally vague, and the nature of its storytelling hides a bunch of stuff happening far, far away from the limited perspective you play through. It's a sorrowful, methodically depressing, and occasionally mean-spirited experience, and nobody is talking about it. The Stillness of the Wind takes place on a farm, but I wouldn't say it's a farming game. I also wouldn't necessarily say it's fun. It's a hard game to recommend, but I'd still say it's worth playing. I got the game years ago when it was massively discounted, then promptly forgot about it until recently, when some unknowable mental process pushed me to try it out. My playthrough lasted just under 4 hours. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you want to go in blind, I suggest you pause now and go play. You start The Stillness of the Wind as an old woman, Talma, a grandmother who's been slowly left alone by her family tending an old farm. She lives with her chickens and goats, and her only point of human connection is a friendly trader who brings hay and goods and letters from Talma's family in the big city. The game does not tell you anything about how to run the farm. It tells you how to pick up and put down objects, and then lets you run wild. Because of this lack of tutorialization, each player will likely fall into a different groove in the coziness of a farming day. The playthroughs I found online each took a different method than I did. Of all my chores on the farm, I prioritized and became best friends with my goats. I would start every morning by grabbing a bucket, milking both of them, and starting the process of turning their milk into cheese. I could only follow vague images in the UI to learn this process, but soon enough it was second nature. Getting water from the well for crops, collecting eggs, and foraging for mushrooms were all learned in time, but still revolved around the daily ritual of the goats. I just needed to be careful that they didn't escape the gate as Talma slowly moved through the segments of her yard. Talma's final days are short. I can only wait in the clobbering rain and lashing winds for the friendly trader to grace me with some hope. I start to read the books in Talma's dresser. There's nothing worth doing on the farm at this point anyhow. I find a series of imagined cities, or perhaps they're as real as they can be, that could practically be bursting from the pages of Invisible Cities by Italo Calvino, a wonderful book I've discussed on this channel before. The hay has all rotted away in the rain. I can't take care of my last remaining goat, the one that I fended off dozens of wolves to protect. I open the gates. Maybe the goat can find some peace out there that I cannot. Talma's last day is calm and frigid, her footsteps slow and her breath foggy. I walk into the snowy desert, towards a mind that I have never tried to explore before because of the weight of routine and the urgency of the tasks: cheese, water, hay, and egg. Just a dozen meters from the open gate of the fence, my final goat is frozen stiff, dead on the spot. Just a few steps further, Talma falls down and dies. The lore of the game, delivered through letters, focuses on a festival in the big city. One of your childhood friends, a particularly naughty sort if Talma's brother is to be believed, recently took office of mayor due to scandals plaguing his opponent. He presumably opened the festival to previously barred nomadic peoples outside the city walls. The game does unfortunately use a commonly uttered slur for the Romani people to describe this crew. Simultaneously, Talma's estranged daughter writes that she seeks to return home. It was on an early day that I learned that Talma needed to eat. If not fed enough, she will grow weary and be extra slow and unable to do tasks around the farm. Each day, I could trade a single cheese and about 3 eggs for anything I wanted, so milking 2 goats and eating 3 eggs left me with a surplus. and that's not even counting the vegetables I was growing. When Talma picks up her hoe, a massive grid of tillable earth becomes apparent. This is a lie. Each slow trip to the well and back is only enough to water a few plants, and the effort of retilling after harvesting means that I never had more than 3 to 4 active plots. You get a variety of seeds for vegetables, fruits, vines, and more. One day I was curious and planted flowers. I did not realize all that I took for granted on the farm that the game could take away from me. I wasn't shocked when the chickens ran away. I wasn't shocked when the hay started to decay in the rain. I wasn't even shocked when the well dried up. But when I walked into Talma's cabin after a shockingly short day, only to realize that there was no warm glow like usual, because there was no power coming from the city, I felt the loss. When I opened up the menu to cook some of my food stores, only to see my dozens of cheese wheels not listed, I panicked. Not that I ever ate my cheese, it was too valuable in barter. But seeing it every night when I cooked up some eggs was part of my routine, and it comforted me. The lack of cheese prompted me to run out amidst a midnight downpour to the cheese hut. All the cheese had molded. I returned to bed and slept, scrambling to figure out how the game's vice grip would tighten next. It was the day after I first scared away a pack of wolves with Talma's shotgun that I realized I only had enough time to milk 1 goat a day. I only needed 1 cheese each day to break even, and I had a decent stock piled up already. My time was better spent maintaining my crops and egg collection that was necessary to diversify my sources of food and other trade goods. Not that I really had time to get water every day anyways. The flowers had dried up a week ago. They were just flowers. Something had gone horribly wrong at the festival. The city became coolly vacant yet crowded, patiently waiting in whirling and never-ending dance. One of the cousins had gone missing, and the state in which she was found was described in words that I have not since forgotten. For what better medium to portray someone dancing with an agility that their bones forbade, or a victim lying there with open eyes, their skin wriggling with a million silverfish, than a wearily scrawled letter? Talma's daughter writes from a cave. Everyone else is gone, either with their families, into the seconds of contemplating their foreign visage through a cracked door, or past the veil. Your daughter waits. She wants to come home.